There's chairs over there. There's chairs over the wall. Smell the tweed.
No alcohol, but plenty of weed.
Well, because, weeds, I don't know why about that.
I'm recording this.
It must be outside.
Yeah, I smell it.
Well, it must be something with the, because if you're serving at the police or something.
Okay. So I'm gonna do some poetry.
Woo! Ah, Christy!
Yay!
Mostly about being brown and angry, but okay. And Prince. And a little bit, yeah. Okay, so, no title. This is the first one. Can't see it. They ask why brown people are so angry. How can anger not creep up from the vines of history in our spines when our copper skin has been so abused? We once honed native tongue in the docks of our mouths, but that was invaded. A ripped sword pierced the flesh of our lips, and now we can only bleed in Spanish. The language clotted in our throats, and eventually it sprouted new cells, new platelets, new dishes, new dichos. We dominated what violated us. And that is how Latinos brawl. We take the abuse and we drown it with an ounce, no, much more, of tequila. And we swallow our pride and we ball our fists and we bite our tongues because we know what happens when our teeth chew out our cheeks. We spill our history through the napes of our necks as the coarse hair is raised there, and we reach into the quivers clinging to our backs and we pull out arrows of direction. They point to the earth and they point to the sky, and when they say we owe our lives to Spain, we say no. Watch as I shoot this arrow and see that is where I'm from. I come from soil, I come from sky, and everything in between.
Just a heads up, during a poetry slam, if you're feeling that shit, snap. It encourages the poet to keep going just as hard as they've been going. So, yeah.
Okay.
She's like, what?
Okay. This one actually has a title. It's actually going to be published in something called Penumbra.
Yay!
Okay, so it's called The Way Mexico Holds On. It began at a baptism. My uncle shakes my hand at his grandson's baptism after years of not seeing me and reminds me that I have gained a lot of weight. Pero que gordita. It's a term of affection when a Mexican uncle calls you fat, but he doesn't understand that in America, fat holds weight. In America, fat weighs on you. And I am not just Mexican. I have never been to Mexico despite the blood I inherited entirely from Jalisco. Today, Mexico digs into the earth in California, breathes into the nostrils of every immigrant, and my white brother-in-law comments that, wow, this is a big party for a baptism. Scott doesn't know how typical this is.
I forgot to tell you.
In America, Mexicans hold on to loud banda music and an opportunity for tequila and gossip. In America, Mexicans hold on to habits of piñatas and elote and carne asada. In America, Mexican parents and aunts and uncles can't stop talking about the roaring streams, the sprawling fields, and lemon trees in a country they scarcely left behind. In America, I am stuck between those stories and my own. I swim beneath the oceans of my mother's memories and the realization that I have never looked into a stream and found who I'd be, if not for a border and a few hundred miles. Some sort of magic happened between my grandmother's labor, my mother's frightened plane trip, and the day I concluded my tongue was bathed in more English than Spanish most of the time. I've tried to connect without crossing earth. I've listened to Vicente Fernandez. I've watched crappy novela after crappy novela. Kept a schedule that allows for long conversations where my mother tells me about the history on her back. I live in a household where my parents mourn Juan Gabriel, while I mourn Prince. I grew up with Michael Jackson, The Simpsons, and bad jokes by Chris Rock. My school friends, and as brown as I am, knew about Selena and Menudo, but preferred Janet Jackson and McDonald's. My father, in his broken English, complains that he can smell the nopales on us while we speak in amputated Spanish. I've spent more time trying to memorize Beyonce's dance moves than the lyrics to Mexico Lindo. But that's not to say I haven't tried. When I come home, my mother has cocido ready on winter days, and the scent takes me back to the childhood nights before midnight Christmas Mass, where I wondered if God was the guy formed by mahogany hanging on the cross dead center in the church, or the guy who hands out the strange crackers. Frankly, I'm still kind of confused. I know more about yoga than handmade tortillas, but I have a taste for both. America clouds my mind, but Mexico sits heavy in my palate. I have never seen her shores, but I felt her pride in my chest when I hear mariachi music or listen to the poetic language of a native Spanish speaker. Madre Patria or Mexico Lindo, they both bubble beneath my skin, and sometimes I ache for a memory that isn't there. My bloodline knows the terra firma of Zacatecas. My bloodline has felt the warm winter rains and heat waves of Guadalajara. Mexico is just a Facebook friend whom I know in pictures and stories that never end, ever erupting from the heights of Popocatépetl, now formed in my parents' mouths. My psyche says Central Valley. My inherited tawny skin, my mother's, says Las Guasimas. I am bolted in between, neither here nor there, but always searching in this spot, this one spot that somehow always manages to shift beneath my feet. I have like 2 more, right? Yeah. Okay. When they ask me what I'm recovering from, I tell them I'm recovering from my own mind built as battle against me. I tell them I'm recovering from my own body built as enemy. I have never waged a war the way I forge weapons against myself. I have never held contempt the way I regret myself. The trick to recovery is acknowledging that you have a problem. I've been my own problem my entire life. I sabotage my triumphs by weighing them down with guilt. I bury genuine smiles because I feel my teeth in joy are too crooked. I hook chains into my own back, and I drag myself into muddy banks before dawn has a chance to light my way. I guess I want it that way. Dark. But for how long? How long can a person thrive without light? The answer is not very long. You can survive for a bit, but thriving is impossible without a fire to be fed. My recovery is an act of feeding. I feed myself the opposites of pain. Things like conversation with those who listen, and things like learning to listen to myself. I hold the flames of my tarnished thoughts in my hands, and I softly watch it dwindle. Sometimes I have to douse it. Sometimes I have to stomp it out. Every day is a different dance. Recovery has no set song. Sometimes you need to adjust your seatbelt. Sometimes you have to forget your past. I already know that's impossible, but still, I walk into the valley and tell myself I can. How much time do I have?
You got enough time.
To do 2 more?
Yep.
Okay. No title for this one. Yeah. I'd like to kick myself out of my own head. Hire a better landlord, because this real estate is rare, and the use it gets is not concurrent with its value. I'm a terrible renter. I tear up the flooring. I've hacked at the foundation with my acts of words and challenges to my own frame. I am not a good renter at all. I've spilled hatred, stained every corner of the home red with my clumsiness. I have misused my privileges. My luck in finding a home in the first place is forgotten when I punch holes in the walls and unhinge the doors. I have wounded this home beyond repair. But perhaps I can rebuild. Finding a new place is not likely, not in this lifetime, but I can try to sweep when I know my enemies are visiting. I can scrub the floors after the muddy footprints from the feet of a stampede make a temporary mark. I can bolster the picture frames to the walls when I know the wind will howl its angry pessimism through my windows. I can become a better renter. I can realize that the messes I make I can also clean up. I can believe that I have the strength to pick up the paintbrush anytime I see the walls have been peeling. I don't know, have you guys ever heard of Calle 13?
Yeah.
Anybody? Have you heard the song El Aguante?
I think so.
Okay, so this is kind of like that format where he talks about the things that you withstand. So I kind of do that but in English. We withstand broken bones, jaws so broken we open wide to inhale our reflections. We withstand our reflections. We withstand the cracks in the glass. We withstand our loosened mouths. We withstand our sunken cheeks. We would stand 7 weeks in a vice. We would stand our vices. We would stand 4 minutes beneath our bathwater. We would stand the scars on our knuckles. We would stand crying to thicken our lungs. We would stand sores and zits and blisters. We would stand hours on our feet and bury ourselves in daydreams to get by. We would stand our dreams, whether they are soft or horrifying or never coming true. We would stand the boy with the loud headphones on the bus. We would stand the rumble in our guts. We would stand the food stamp line. We would stand crow's feet and that one gray hair. We would stand our fines. We would stand the bus fare. We would stand our love pains. We would stand melancholy. We would stand fleeting joy, knowing it only lasts until the tape flips over. We would stand atomic bombs and processed sugar. We would stand our bodies. We would stand our tongues. We would stand the awful days that overture our fun. We would stand our drugs. We would stand our toys. We would stand our throats. We would stand our boys. We would stand the men who pull our faces into smiles. We would stand having to prove we are no threat, all the while we wear saliva between the innocuous baring of our teeth. We would stand days in offices. We would stand the terror of night, shadows looming behind us in the streets. We would stand a lot. We would stand not because we want to, but because we have no other choice. Because it's what we were taught. Because it's what awaits us beyond the borderline.
Hey! I recorded it.
Yeah.